Hello everyone, this is Group 4. We are going to tackle or discuss about the Chapter 4, the ethics of sentiment, reason, and courage. First, sentiment and moral decision making. The 18th century Scottish philosopher David Hume, 1711-1776, in his work A Treatise of Human Nature 2000, furthered the idea that morality is based not on reason but on emotions. His notion of ethical thought is basically on the Perez's theory of the mind, and thus can be distilled through the four theses that he has posited. First, reason alone cannot be a motive to the will, but rather is the slave of the passions. Second, moral distinctions are not derived from reason. Third, moral distinctions are derived from moral sentiments, that is, the feeling of approval, esteem, praise, and disapproval, blame, built by spectators who contemplate a character trait or action. Fourth, while some virtues and vices are natural, others, including justice, are artificial. In the beginning of an inquiry concerning the principle of morals, 1983, David Hume states, in this quote, in the beginning of an inquiry concerning the people of morals, 1983, David Hume states, here's the explanation. The ethics of sentiment and decision-making play a major role in our society. One's opinion must be respected as termed by the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them unto you. Perfectly illustrates respect. Sentiment, reason, and courage involves emotions. Emotions motivates a person to do such action. Emotions plays a major role in most ethical decisions people make. Most people do not realize how much their emotions direct their moral choices. For example, people will often direct anger, disgust, or contempt at those people who have acted unethically. This discourages others from behaving the same way. Positive emotions like, for example, gratitude or being grateful, kindness, and admiration, which people may feel when they see another acting with compassion, can prompt people to also help others. Empathy and sympathy often lead people to act ethically toward others. Feelings and reason in Star Trek. To Canadian-American analytical philosopher Patricia Churchland, 1986, the relationship between eventual balance between feelings and reason can best be gleaned from the three central characters in the science fiction television show Star Trek 1966 to 1969. She argued that Leonard Bones, McCoy, Spock, and Captain James T. Kirk represent the different traditions of the relationship between emotionality and rationality. Reason and impartiality. Impartiality is not neutrality. It is partiality for justice by Stanislav Jerzy Lake. Reason and impartiality have different description. So, as stated in the chapter, partiality is not neutrality. It is partiality for justice. It means that impartiality is not about not being biased, but it is about giving to a man his due. Reason can define as rationalization. Most of us think of ourselves as honest person, yet most of us often lie a little and cheat a little. In order to maintain our self-image as a good person, we anxiously invent personalization to convince ourselves that what we did was not wrong or not really harmful or not our fault, and so on. Ethical reasoning helps determine and differentiate between right and wrong. By thinking, decisions, and actions that are hurtful or harmful. The reason impartiality in the chapter will help people think rationally what is good and what is bad, and to be just fair, to benefit not ourselves but the benefits of the majority, in pictures of impartiality. Impartiality simply states that no one is above or beneath any standard in making moral valuations. So favoring one person over another on the sole basis of race or skin color, for instance, is never justifiable. Moral judgments, after all, should be backed by reason. Rachel's 2003. So in hiring someone for a key position in a company, one should look past the racial angle and assess the person based on good reasons, his or her qualifications, work history, feedback from previous companies, and etc. In many ways, partiality distracts from moral arbitrariness or personal whims. When drawing of judgments from a moral standpoint, moral should not be treated differently if there are no truly good justifications to do so. So here's the explanation. Partiality in the chapter simply states treating all people and groups equally. When it comes to morality, we should be impartial or not biased. It requires that we give equal or adequate consideration to the interests of all concerned parties. It assumes that every person, generally speaking, is equally important, that is, no one seen as intrinsically more important. And more important or more significant than anyone else. It is nothing personal. I merely abided by my religious beliefs. So the moral of impetus or impartiality simply states also as term that no one is above the law. All must be treated equally, whether you have a fair skin or brown skin, different races, cultures, religions, beliefs, and it should have the 7-step guide to moral reasoning. First, state the problem. Second, check the facts. Third, identify relevant factors. Fourth, develop a list of options. Fifth, list the options. 6. Come up with a choice or decision based on the above mentioned steps. 7. Review steps 1 to 6. So in the fifth test, the options, there are 7. First, harm test. Second, publicity test. Third, defensibility test. Fourth, reversibility test. Fifth, calling test. 6, organization test. And the last, 7, virtue test. So this test may belong to the test the options by Michael Davis or his or her choices decisions. Moral courage. Never be afraid to do what's right, especially if the well-being of a person or animals is at stake. Society's punishments are small compared to the wounds we inflict on the soul when we look the other way, by Martin Luther King Jr. So here's the explanation. Moral courage in the chapter simply states that it is the taking action for formal lessons or reasons despite the risk of adverse consequences. You shall never be afraid of your actions as long as You know that what you are doing is right. It is always better to stay in the state of courage at all times. Trouble, or circle.
What separates vice from virtue? Taken at face value, it suggests that virtue is no different from vice. For Aristotle, vices are just as voluntarily adopted by man as virtues. To properly demarcate between the two, philosopher Edmund Pincoff posits that vices and virtues are what man must turn to in assisting whether someone is to be sought or avoided. In looking for potential groupmates for a school project, a student may prefer someone who is articulate, writes well, and has good grades. Courage defined. Courage is one of the many virtues intrinsic to man. As elucidated by Aristotle's, courage is that which sits between the extremes of cowardice and recklessness. The same way virtue does between excess and deficiency, cowardice is either retreat or complete inaction in the face of adversity, while recklessness is intuitive risk-taking. Physical and moral courage. Physical courage is the enactment of virtue through actual activities such as a police officer in pursuit of a criminal, a lifeguard saving someone from drowning, or a boxer taking an a fool twice his size. Moral courage is never always demonstrated on a strictly physical level. Instead, engaging in such acts serves mainly to further typify the virtues lives by. Unlike physical courage as exhibited, for instance, by an athlete overcoming impossible odds to win or a fireman rescuing an elderly couple from a burning tenement. Moral courage has no adoring public to play to, for to master it means to take the road less traveled. Suppose determinants. Studies show that individuals tend to inhibit from helping others if there are people present. This social psychological phenomenon is popularly known as the bystander effect or bystander apathy. Though, on the contrary, Gray, Meyer, Pressure, Casimir, and Bray revealed that people respond to emergency situations where victims' safety are much evidently at stake quick, quicker and with little regard for the bystander effect compared to ordinary helping situation. In short, moral courage is rather easy to arouse in truly dire situations, thus removing the bystander effect as a genuine determinant.
Fostering factors. The first one is the role of social norms, predominantly the most silent prosocial ones, in encouraging morally courageous. Anything essentially prosocial can be defined as that which can directly affect others positively. If a person keeps on noticing displays of moral courage on the streets, there's a big chance that he she might see this a normal practice, which may then inspire him here to engage in similar prosocial acts in the second role is that of anger. Morally courageous acts are often caused by moral outrage of the kind of anger provoked by the violation of a certain moral or ethical standard. In other words, it is the upsetting feeling one gets at a sight of injustice or inequality. Moral imperative of the will. Will is the virtue it takes for one to act of decide according to a personal set of principles. If you are in a diet and you are able to successfully shake off thoughts of having that slice of pizza you were craving for all week, it and can be said that your will is relatively strong. But in the field of philosophy, it is supposed in ways that outline its relation to reason and morality. Kant's postulate. Will is the faculty man has in order to act according to a conception of law. When man behaves in a particular way, this intent outcome are often beyond his control. Martin Luther King Jr. Then has no significant power of the success or failure of the civil rights movement, but those over the will to lead the Aquinas and Royce, influential philosopher and theologian Thomas Aquinas' notion of will is in many ways correlated to his idea of what reason is, especially he suggests that he will, guided by intellect and desire, can be available as appetite for reason Rowan 2015, but for idealist Julia Royce consciousness in work knowing begins with itself an act of will. He further added, a highest form of good can only be attained if a person confers value and quality to a cause even if she will not actually benefit from in Royce's ethics system thus path traced on how will in and of itself without relation to intellect it was ultimately guides man.